The Empire's fleet arrived in Earth's orbit. Without warning, its massive ships appeared in the sky like dark shadows, blotting out the sunships the size of cities, and carrying enough firepower to annihilate every living thing on Earth. In an instant, no nation was prepared, no leader had the foresight to anticipate such a threat. Humanity had no idea how to fight back against a force that had obliterated countless civilizations across the galaxy for centuries. In every city around the world, people looked up in shock and fear. The atmosphere seemed to freeze with dread as news reports flooded every screen across the planet. The world's governments scrambled for answers, but none came. A state of emergency was declared in every major city. Some governments tried to communicate, others attempted futile defense measures, but no one knew what the Empire wanted or how to stop them. Military leaders around the globe felt the sting of helplessness. Amid the growing panic, Captain John Daniels sat in the command center of Earth's Central Defense Force. His face was calm, but his mind raced. He had seen this kind of enemy before. He had fought against overwhelming forces in the past, but nothing had prepared him for the scale of what lay ahead. Earth's military forces were not ready for this fight. The world's nuclear arsenal was too slow and too primitive to even dent the Empire's shields. Conventional weapons were useless against ships that could wipe out entire armies without effort. But Daniels refused to believe that Earth was already doomed. He had been in the trenches too many times to give up without a fight. Earth had something the Empire didn't understand, a raw human determination that could not be quantified in star charts or battle strategies. It was a spirit that refused to break, no matter the odds, and Daniels knew he had to harness that spirit before humanity lost all hope. He stood up from the command center table, his mind already working on plans, his thoughts crystal clear amidst the chaos around him. He turned to his closest advisors and commanders, gathering them in a tight circle. There were murmurs of doubt, but Daniel's presence silenced them. He had seen victory in the face of impossible odds before, and he wasn't about to let fear dictate Earth's future. "We cannot fight them in the way they expect," Daniels said. "We have to be smarter, faster, and more unpredictable than they are. We need to go underground into the old bunkers and the forgotten arsenals of Earth and build something they never imagined, weapons that could be used against them, but also tactics that they cannot predict. If we fight this war the way they want us to, we'll lose. But if we use our ingenuity, our creativity, our very unpredictability, we might just stand a chance." The room was quiet as Daniel spoke, the weight of his words heavy on their minds. But the quiet was broken by one of the younger officers speaking up. "Sir, what you're suggesting is madness. We can't possibly hope to match them with anything we have." Daniels turned his gaze to the officer, his eyes hard with resolve. "No, we can't match them in firepower. But we don't need to match them. We need to outthink them. We need to surprise them in ways they've never expected. And I know we can do that. Because we're human, we can adapt and overcome anything they throw at us." And so Earth's last hope began its secretive preparation with a handful of brave military commanders and a desperate plan. Humanity's defiance had begun. As the Empire's fleet hovered above Earth, a sense of urgency gripped the entire planet. The first few days had been spent in confusion and panic as world leaders scrambled for answers. But Captain John Daniels' plan was already set into motion. The key to their survival lay hidden beneath the surface of Earth, in the remnants of forgotten wars and abandoned technological projects. In those dark, forgotten bunkers and under vast mountain ranges, humanity's hidden arsenal lay dormant, waiting to be awakened. Daniels had long believed in humanity's ability to adapt and survive, even in the most dire of circumstances. What Earth lacked in technological superiority, it made up for with ingenuity, creativity, and sheer willpower. As Earth's military forces continued to falter under the Empire's overwhelming might, Daniels knew the time had come to tap into the world's hidden potential. He gathered a small team of trusted engineers, military strategists, and scientists who understood what was at stake. They would be humanity's last line of defense. The first stop was an old Cold War facility in the Russian wilderness, a massive underground complex that had once been a top-secret military installation. It had been abandoned for decades, but its infrastructure was still intact. The team moved quickly, scouring the bunker for anything that could be of use. They found old blueprints, experimental weapon systems, and relics of the past, some of which had never been fully understood. With the help of a few surviving engineers from the Cold War era, they began to piece together what they could. But that was only the beginning. Earth had more to offer than just the remnants of past conflicts. Daniel's next move was to gather intelligence from the world's most secretive scientific projects. There were rumors of technologies developed during the space race that had never seen the light of day: warp drives, energy shields, and advanced materials that could withstand the Empire's most devastating weapons. These were the kinds of technologies that, when combined, could turn the tide of the war. As the team delved deeper into Earth's forgotten archives, they discovered something even more remarkable: alien technology. It was scattered, almost deliberately hidden, as if someone had known that Earth would one day need it. Some of these pieces had been found during previous space missions and reverse-engineered, while others had been discovered after rare meteorite crashes. These technologies were unlike anything humanity had ever seen, and they held the key to survival. The team worked feverishly, combining the best of Earth's technology with the alien advancements they found. It was a process of trial and error, a race against time as the Empire's fleet continued to grow larger, closer, and more dangerous. But not everyone believed in the possibility of victory. As Daniels led the operation, he was met with resistance from some of Earth's leaders. There were still those who believed that the only way forward was to surrender and submit to the Empire's superior might. They argued that humanity stood no chance against such a force. But Daniels refused to back down. He reminded them of what humanity had endured throughout history: wars, invasions, famine, and disease. And yet, against all odds, Earth had survived. This would not be the end of humanity. Not now. Not ever. By the end of the second week, Daniel's team had successfully unlocked the secrets of several weapon systems and had begun building prototypes for new spacecraft that could carry Earth's newly developed technologies. They weren't just creating weapons, they were creating hope. And in that hope, they would find their strength. The Empire's fleet continued to orbit Earth, waiting for a signal to begin their assault. But in the shadows, the humans worked tirelessly, knowing that their Defiance was the last hope for the survival of their world. The war had only just begun, but Earth had something the Empire had underestimated: the resilience of a people who would never give up. The first true test of Earth's defiance came sooner than expected. As Daniels and his team were still refining their newly developed weapons, the Empire made its move. Their fleet descended with terrifying precision, launching probes and scout ships to sweep across Earth's surface, gathering intelligence and preparing for the full-scale invasion. They believed Earth's resistance was futile, that humanity would crumble beneath the weight of their superior force. But Earth was not waiting idly by. The fleet of Defiance, a ragtag armada of repurposed ships, civilian vessels, and stolen alien technology, was ready. Though small and vastly outmatched by the Empire's overwhelming numbers, the fleet had something far more valuable: surprise. Captain Daniels had spent weeks strategizing, using the unpredictable nature of Earth's new technologies and unconventional warfare tactics as their primary weapon. If the Empire expected a traditional battle, they would be sorely mistaken. The first strike came without warning. A small group of Earth's ships, barely equipped and heavily modified, ambushed an Empire scout vessel that had ventured too close to the atmosphere. The operation was risky. One wrong move could mean certain destruction. But the crew, fueled by determination and the knowledge that this was humanity's only shot, pressed on. Daniels had personally selected the crew for this mission, and they were ready to face the unimaginable. They launched a series of rapid strikes, disabling the scout ship's communication systems and forcing the crew into a state of chaos. Earth's ships were nimble, designed to take advantage of their smaller size and advanced propulsion systems. They dodged Empire fire with precision, using the atmosphere to their advantage, as they dove in and out of the planet's upper layers. The Empire's crew, accustomed to fighting massive fleets and overwhelming odds, was unprepared for such tactics. It was chaos in space. As the Earth ships fired on the scout vessels' exposed weak spots, the Empire retaliated with overwhelming firepower. Missiles and laser beams screamed through the void, narrowly missing their targets. Earth's fleet was fast, but the Empire's ships were larger and better armed. The balance seemed precarious. But Daniels had one last trick up his sleeve, a prototype energy shield designed using the alien technology they had discovered. With a flick of a switch, the shield activated just as a blast from the Empire's scout ship's main cannon came crashing toward them. The blast ricocheted harmlessly off the shield, leaving the Earth ship unharmed. It was a small victory, but it sent a shockwave through the Empire's command. The Empire, caught off guard by Earth's boldness, scrambled to assess the situation. A fleet of small, primitive ships had managed to disable one of their own, a feat they had not anticipated. But Daniels knew that this was only the beginning. The strike had to send a message, not just to the Empire, but to the entire world. Humanity would not surrender. And Earth's arsenal, still in its infancy, was far more potent than the Empire realized. News of the victory spread quickly across Earth. In cities and small towns, people watched in disbelief as the first signs of hope emerged. Earth's fleet wasn't just fighting to survive. They were proving that the Empire wasn't invincible. It was a spark in the dark, and it ignited something in the hearts of humans everywhere. Soldiers, engineers, civilians, anyone with a skill or an idea to contribute, rushed to join the fight. The Empire had underestimated the power of a united humanity. But despite the victory, the war was far from over. The Empire's response was swift and brutal. Reinforcements arrived, and Earth's fleet knew they could not afford to be caught off guard again. Daniels and his commanders began planning the next phase of their strategy, pushing their new weapons to the limit, and preparing for a battle that would test not only their technology, but their resolve. The first clash had been a success, but the real war had just begun. Earth had made its stand, but now it had to prepare for what would come next. Would their small fleet be enough to hold off the Empire's relentless assault, or would Earth's defiance be crushed beneath the weight of a galactic empire's wrath? Only time would tell. But for the first time in weeks, Captain Daniels allowed himself a brief moment of hope. The fight was far from over, but Earth was still standing, and it wasn't going down without a fight. As the weeks passed, the fight between Earth and the Empire escalated. The initial shock of the ambush had faded, and the Empire was no longer underestimating humanity. In response to the first defeat, the Empire sent reinforcements, launching full-scale attacks on Earth's orbital defenses and cities. Yet Earth's response was a testament to its resilience. Captain Daniels' fleet, still small but growing, continued to use hit-and-run tactics, relying on the element of surprise and unconventional methods to disrupt the Empire's war machine. The fleet of Defiance had become a symbol of Earth's resistance, and with every skirmish, it gained more momentum. Ships that had once been nothing more than rusting hulks or civilian vessels were now hardened battlecraft, each one serving as a lifeline for humanity's survival. Engineers and technicians worked day and night, retrofitting ships and creating new weapon systems that could take down even the most formidable Empire vessels. They developed energy-based cannons, stealth cloaking systems, and improved propulsion methods that allowed Earth's fleet to engage the Empire on their terms, rather than the other way around. But it wasn't just Earth's military that was becoming more formidable. It was the entire planet. The people of Earth, despite their initial panic and fear, had come together in ways no one had anticipated. Civilians volunteered in droves to help with the war effort, from constructing new weaponry to providing supplies for the front lines. Entire factories were converted to churn out everything from fighter jets to ammunition. Earth's engineers, once focused on peaceful endeavors, now turned their skills to creating advanced defenses and weapons capable of standing against the Empire's overwhelming technological might. With every passing day, Earth's fleet grew stronger, more coordinated. Daniels knew that it was only a matter of time before the Empire would launch another major offensive. But this time, Earth would not be caught unprepared. Daniels, now a seasoned leader of a battle-hardened fleet, knew that a decisive strike was needed to tilt the balance of power. He began formulating a plan to take the war directly to the heart of the Empire. The mission was clear: infiltrate the Empire's second-largest warship, the *Avarice*, which had recently arrived in orbit above Earth. It was a ship of immense firepower and significance. If they could disable it, they could severely disrupt the Empire's strategic operations. The mission was dangerous, but it was the kind of gamble Daniels had always been willing to take. If they succeeded, it could change the course of the war. If they failed, it could mean the destruction of the fleet of Defiance. Captain Daniels chose a small, highly skilled crew of fighters, engineers, and tech experts, individuals who had proven their worth in battle and could adapt quickly to the unpredictable nature of the war. Among them was Lieutenant Sarah Hayes, a brilliant pilot who had been instrumental in developing Earth's new, faster spacecraft. She would be leading the strike team into the heart of the Empire's flagship. Alongside her were several veterans, each one chosen for their ability to think outside the box and act under pressure. The plan was simple. They would launch a surprise attack on the *Avarice*, boarding the massive vessel under the cover of darkness. The strike team would disable the ship's main weapon systems and disrupt its command center, using a combination of Earth's alien technology and their own creativity. Once the ship was incapacitated, the fleet would move in for the kill. The idea was to take the fight to the Empire, not wait for them to come to Earth again. But as they prepared for the mission, Daniels knew there was no guarantee of success. The Empire was watching, and any slip-up could mean total annihilation. But Earth's spirit burned brighter than ever. And as the fleet of Defiance gathered for the attack, there was no room for doubt. They were fighting for survival, for their homes, their families, and their future. The stakes were higher than ever, and the next move would determine whether humanity's resistance could continue or if the Empire would wipe it from existence. The battle for Earth was about to enter a new dangerous phase, and the fate of the entire planet would hang in the balance. Captain Daniels and his fleet knew one thing for certain: they would not go quietly into the dark. They would fight to the last breath. The fleet of Defiance had grown bolder with each skirmish, but the upcoming mission against the Empire's flagship *Avarice* was the most dangerous gamble yet. Captain Daniels and his crew had done everything they could to prepare for the assault, but as the hours ticked down to launch, the weight of the task pressed heavily on them. This would not be just another battle. This would be a turning point. If Earth could cripple the *Avarice*, it could disrupt the Empire's entire command structure and shift the momentum of the war. But if they failed, it would mean the end of humanity's last hope. The plan was set. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes, whose piloting skills had been instrumental in their previous victories, would lead the team into the heart of the Empire's flagship. They would board the *Avarice* undetected, infiltrating the ship's massive hull with a combination of stealth and speed. Using the latest Earth-made cloaking technology, a modified civilian freighter would carry them through the vast emptiness of space, only a small crew aboard to minimize detection. Once they arrived at the *Avarice*, they would slip in like shadows and begin their sabotage. But this was no easy task. The *Avarice* was not only a fortress, it was a symbol of the Empire's might. The crew had to disable its weapons systems and take control of its command center, two objectives that would put them directly in the line of fire. As the fleet prepared for their most critical strike, the atmosphere on Earth was electric. The people of the planet knew what was at stake. The news of the fleet of Defiance's daring victories spread like wildfire, and support for the rebellion reached unprecedented levels. Resistance movements from across the globe sent supplies and reinforcements to join the fight. Every nation, every individual, had rallied behind Daniels and his crew. There was no room for failure. But despite the swelling support, Daniels knew the Empire would retaliate with all its power once the mission began. Earth's enemies would not hesitate to erase any force that threatened their control. The fleet launched under the cover of darkness, cloaked ships slipping into the cold expanse of space, unseen by the Empire's watchful eyes. Hayes guided the team's vessel with precision, her hand steady on the controls, her mind focused on the mission ahead. Each second felt like an eternity, the silence of space pressing in on them as they neared the Avarice. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Empire's forces were prepared for any threat. But they had not expected this. Their fleets were positioned to overwhelm any attack, but the sheer audacity of Earth's assault caught them off guard. The Avarice was massive, its weapons systems second to none, but it was vulnerable to infiltration. Daniels had known this, and that's why they were taking their best shot. As the team's vessel approached the flagship, Daniels could see it on the monitors, an immense, sprawling structure, its metallic surface gleaming against the backdrop of the stars. The plan was for the freighter to dock with the Avarice lower hangar base, using Earth's cloaking technology to avoid the Empire's sensors. If they could board undetected, the team would have a few precious minutes before the Empire realized they were inside. But as they docked, disaster struck. A malfunction in the cloaking system left them briefly exposed, and the Empire's sensors flared to life. The alarm blared through the Avarice, alerting its crew to an intruder. The strike team didn't hesitate. With blinding speed, they rushed from the freighter, moving like shadows through the corridors of the Empire's flagship, weapons raised and ready. There was no time to waste. They had to disable the weapons and neutralize the command center, but they couldn't afford to be caught. The first firefight was brutal. Empire soldiers, heavily armored and better trained, engaged the intruders with ruthless efficiency. But Earth's team had something the Empire hadn't prepared for: determination. They fought like a unified force, each member relying on the skills of the others. Sarah Hayes, with her tactical genius, led the charge, guiding them through the ship's complex corridors, bypassing security and disabling power grids with the alien tech they had brought along. Every step forward felt like a victory, but the clock was ticking. The Avarice's command center was only a few decks away, and Daniels knew that once they reached it, there would be no turning back. But as they neared their objective, the Empire was closing in. Earth's infiltration had not gone unnoticed. They were no longer shadows. They were prey. Would they succeed in their mission, or would the Empire destroy them all before they could make a difference? The battle for the future of Earth was far from over. And this time, there was no room for mistakes. The strike team pushed forward with relentless determination, their mission clearer than ever before: disable the Avarice weapons systems and seize control of its command center. The alarms echoed throughout the ship as the Empire scrambled to respond to the unexpected assault. Captain Daniels watched from the command center on Earth, his heart pounding as he tracked the strike team's progress. Their progress had been swift, but the longer they remained inside the Avarice, the more likely the Empire was to send reinforcements. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes and her team moved with military precision. The chaos of the first firefight was behind them, and now they were in the belly of the beast. They'd made their way deeper into the ship, the corridor lights flashing red in warning as they encountered resistance. The Empire soldiers they fought were well trained, but they had underestimated Earth's resolve. Every soldier was a cog in the machine, but the Earth team was something different. A handful of warriors united by a singular cause. They had trained for this moment, and despite their smaller numbers, they had the element of surprise and the advantage of alien technology on their side. They reached the weapons control room, where a heavy blast door blocked their path. There was no time to waste. Sarah quickly analyzed the door's security system, her fingers flying over the alien interface she had learned to master in recent weeks. A pulse of energy rippled through the room as she connected her device to the terminal, bypassing the Empire's defenses with swift precision. As the door slid open, the team burst inside, weapons raised and scanning for threats. The control room was large, with several Empire officers monitoring the ship's weapon systems. They turned, startled by the sudden intrusion, but were quickly met with a barrage of fire. The strike team fought with surgical precision, taking down the officers one by one. The weapon systems were now vulnerable. A few seconds later, Hayes triggered the sequence that would disable the Avaris arsenal. A wave of energy cascaded across the room, shutting down the primary weapon systems. The ship's massive cannons, which had once threatened Earth's very existence, were now neutralized. "One down," Sarah muttered, her voice tense, but filled with relief. "Next, we take the command center." They moved swiftly through the corridors, their path growing more dangerous as the Empire began flooding the halls with reinforcements. A crackling voice came over the ship's intercom, and an ominous warning rang out. "Intruders in the weapons control sector. All personnel report to the command center. Lock down all exits." The mission was no longer a covert operation. It had become a battle for control of the Avaris. Hayes and her team sprinted toward the command center, the adrenaline pumping through their veins. They knew that the Empire's high-ranking officers were stationed there, and the key to the ship's power lay in their hands. But as they reached the command center's entrance, they found themselves facing a squad of elite Empire soldiers. These soldiers were different, battle-hardened and equipped with advanced armor that made them nearly impervious to Earth's small arms fire. The odds were now stacked against them. "Get to cover," Hayes barked, as gunfire erupted from the enemy forces. The strike team quickly took cover behind reinforced walls, exchanging fire with the Empire soldiers. Despite the odds, they fought with everything they had. Hayes' mind raced as she weighed their options. She needed a way to disable the command center's security systems, fast. But it wasn't just the soldiers they had to contend with. The Empire's central eye had already been alerted to their presence, and soon the entire ship would be on high alert. In the midst of the gunfire, one of the engineers, a quick-thinking young woman named Alina, managed to hack into the ship's central network. She had worked tirelessly on Earth's alien technology, and now her skills were about to pay off. A low hum filled the air as Alina's device activated, briefly disorienting the Empire's defenses. The squad used the opening to launch a final assault on the command center. They fought their way inside, where they found the commanding officer and his staff frantically trying to restore control. But it was too late. With the weapons systems disabled and the ship's central command compromised, the strike team launched the final blow. Sarah Hayes moved swiftly, disabling the command center's internal systems, and within moments, the Avaris was effectively crippled. The Empire's most powerful ship was now a shadow of its former self. Outside, the fleet of Defiance, led by Captain Daniels, moved in for the kill. With the Avaris incapacitated, Earth's forces now had the upper hand. The Empire's fleet, disoriented and uncoordinated, was no match for Earth's newfound strength. As the Avaris began to drift helplessly in space, Daniel's voice crackled over the fleet's comms, filled with determination. "This is our moment. Earth fights back. Today, we show them what it means to defy an empire." The battle for Earth had reached a new chapter, and humanity's will to survive had proven stronger than even the Empire could have imagined. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion, the Empire had felt fear. Earth had struck the first real blow, and it would not be the last. The fall of the Avaris was a stunning victory, but it was only a single battle in what had become an all-out war. As the crippled flagship drifted in space, its command structure shattered. Earth's fleet of Defiance surged forward, emboldened by their unexpected triumph. The strike team, having completed their mission, rendezvoused with the rest of the fleet. Lieutenant Sarah Hayes, still shaken from the firefight, was among the first to return to the command vessel, her eyes tired but fierce with the fire of victory. Captain Daniels had been waiting for them in the command center, his expression a mixture of relief and determination. "You did it," he said, his voice steady but tinged with awe. "You gave us a fighting chance." Hayes nodded, her heart still racing. "It wasn't easy, but we hit them hard. The asterisk of Eris asterisk is down, and their command structure is in disarray. Now it's up to us to finish the job." Despite the monumental success, Daniels knew they couldn't rest on their laurels. The Empire was a vast, well-organized machine, and while one of their most powerful warships had been taken out of commission, their fleets would not simply dissolve. Reinforcements would come. The Empire would regroup and launch its retaliation. Earth had earned a victory, but the price for that victory would be even greater. "We need to act fast," Daniels said, gathering his senior officers for an emergency briefing. "We've just sent a ripple through the Empire, but they won't give up. If we don't keep up the pressure, they'll come back stronger." His plan was clear. They would strike again. This time, not with the element of surprise, but with all the forces they had at their disposal. Earth's resistance was growing every day, but they still faced the Empire's might. Daniels knew the next move had to be bold, something that would cripple the Empire's capacity for retaliation. And so, he turned his attention to the Empire's supply lines. The Empire had been relying on a series of intergalactic supply routes to keep their forces well supplied, and Daniels saw an opportunity to cut them off. If Earth could destroy or capture these supply ships, it would disrupt the Empire's entire war effort. The plan was risky, but it was the best chance they had. "We will take the fight to their supply lines," Daniels continued. "We know where their convoys will be. If we hit them hard enough, we can deny the Empire the resources they need to keep fighting." The fleet of Defiance quickly mobilized, and within hours, they were prepared for another strike. This time, Earth's ships would split into smaller, faster units, striking at multiple points along the Empire's supply lines. They had the advantage of knowing the Empire's logistics better than the invaders themselves. Thanks to intelligence gathered from Earth's engineers and captured Empire data, they knew the locations and schedules of the supply convoys. Sarah Hayes, her confidence bolstered by their success on the Avarice asterisk, took command of one of the strike units. She would lead the attack on a high-priority convoy carrying vital resources to the Empire's front lines. If they could destroy that convoy, it would send shockwaves through the Empire's logistics system. The strike began under the cover of darkness, with Earth's ships weaving in and out of the shadowed space lanes. The Empire, caught off guard by their speed and precision, scrambled to respond, but Earth's vessels were too fast. They launched hit-and-run attacks, bombarding the convoys before the Empire could organize any meaningful defense. Explosions erupted in space as Earth's ships disabled the supply vessels, capturing critical cargo and denying the Empire essential supplies. Yet the Empire was relentless. As Earth's forces celebrated their initial success, a counterattack came almost immediately. A fleet of Empire destroyers had been lying in wait, ready to intercept any resistance. The battle that followed was brutal, a violent clash of firepower and strategy. The Empire's ships were massive and heavily armed, their crews trained for war. But Earth had something they didn't: a fierce will to survive. Sarah's unit fought with everything they had, using the advanced technology they had stolen and developed to outmaneuver the Empire's heavy ships. The strike team's nimble, unconventional tactics turned the tide once again. The Empire's destroyers, although superior in strength, were not prepared for the kind of guerrilla warfare Earth had mastered. One by one, the massive ships fell, disabled or destroyed by Earth's relentless assault. But even in victory, there was no time for rest. As the final Empire destroyer was taken down, a grim realization settled in. The Empire had been watching from the shadows, and they would not let this humiliation slide. "The Empire will come at us with everything they have," Daniels said as the fleet regrouped. "We've struck their supply lines, but now they know we're capable of more than they thought. The next move will be critical. The battle was far from over. Earth's fleet of Defiance had struck a powerful blow, but the Empire was far from beaten. The war for Earth's survival was only intensifying, and Captain Daniels knew that every victory brought them one step closer to the ultimate confrontation. This was not just a fight for Earth's freedom. It was a fight for the future of humanity itself. And as long as they had the strength to resist, Earth would continue to defy the Empire's might.